Wednesday afternoon. Rose Sonnet, community nutritionist. Thank you for being here today.
You're welcome.
We're talking about the importance of buying and eating locally produced food, which we all know about, and some of us are better at it than others. Yes. Let's talk about what's in the basket, for example. There's all kinds of neat things.
I just came from the store and scoped out locally grown and produced food. So starting on this side, we've got pasta that was made in Vernon, lentils from the Oliver area, cheese from Salmon Arm, and of course our local suppliers here, parsnips, red cabbage, apples. And I think it's really important to remember that it's not only do we produce it, and we have also a lot of other products, but that we were talking earlier about what the recent happenings in the world and how the food security has become a real issue.
Absolutely, because of the earthquake in Japan, and food has become a real issue over there.
Yeah.
What does it look like for Kamloops? If there was to be a sudden disaster here, what would happen in terms of food supply in Kamloops?
If our railways and roads were, let's say, shut down for any reason, we estimate there's about 3 days' worth of food
For
in Kamloops,
each person.
for each person. And so there's two parts to it. Number one, we may not be able to get food from the Lower Mainland, which was a lot of our food, or two, they couldn't get food down there. So having local food grown is really important. And much as I'm a nutritionist and I promote local, it's really the economic development portion of it that has probably the greatest effect to any community is having a local industry around. Yeah.
Now, we see more and more larger chains like Safeway or Save on Foods, Cooper's, carrying local product. For example, right here, we were just on with Made with Love Delectable Edibles, and their things are supplied at Cooper's, which is a major chain. So it's not hard to support the local food industry, is it?
It's not hard, and if you ask for it, it will come. And that's probably the best message for people is if the suppliers don't know you want local food, they don't look for it. So if you go to the managers and say, I really want to support local, they will. And we've seen that change over time. I also want to talk about how do you define local. I think it's the most common question people ask me is, Rose, what does local mean? And you probably have heard of the 100-mile diet. It's become very, very popular. But really for us, local is grown as close to home as possible, whether it's just outside of that 100-mile, or it could be 50 meters outside of your door in your own garden. It's important to get it as close to home as possible. And different seasons, you have to go a little bit further, but again, keep that in mind because transportation is an environmental impact.
Absolutely. And of course, another great source of buying locally is the farmers market, which we all know about, and that's coming up pretty quickly.
Yep, in April they'll be starting up again at the end of April, beginning of May. And we're really fortunate in that we have multiple locations in town, including Sun Peaks. We also have different programs that you can sign up for, like Thistle Farms has a box you can get a week. So that certainly brings awareness to that. And so many different ways. I know you've had a great demonstration of how you can use local food, but I served roasted parsnips just a couple of days ago. And people said, what vegetable is this?
Isn't that amazing?
And when I said it's parsnip, something that's, a lot of people consider old-fashioned, are gaining a lot of popularity again.
Absolutely. And, I can say for myself, I know what a parsnip is. A lot of people do, but my parents live in Victoria. My dad is a farmer at heart, and he grows every vegetable and fruit known to man. And so for me, being able to eat things that have been grown out of the earth right outside of your door, it's really important to be able to do that if you can.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you would promote people having a small garden if they can.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the ideal time to put out those vegetables that are cold resistant. So things like spinach, you can start seeding them now. The other thing that has come up over the last little while, you've probably seen the reports on rising food prices.
Yes.
And so why that's important for local is, again, any of the industries that will rely on petroleum products, and from petroleum they get a lot of fertilizers, etc. So trying to buy local, trying to buy organic actually reduces the dependence on those. And so if we can help our producers locally, it'll help our food prices stay down. So we're expecting pretty big changes over the next couple of months.
I'm sure. And another big thing.
Do you have any food reserves in your home right now? How long could you provide food for your family if the food supply was cut off? A month? A week? 3 days? Wouldn't you feel better if you had the necessary reserves? Have you ever noticed that the more advanced we get, the less prepared we are? Many things that defined life only 100 years ago are so convenient today that we don't really think about what would happen if that convenience were gone. Consider how we get our food. We just go down to the grocery store and grab a few things. But what if something happened that interrupted the food supply to the store? How long would it take for the shelves to be wiped out? What would you do? How long could you and your family survive? You know, for all the other important things in our lives, we have a variety of professionals, from mechanics to doctors, to help cover our bases. Why don't we also have a food professional? Food is our greatest dependency. Yet most of us find ourselves unprepared for the uncertainties that lie ahead. Why take chances? Why not do something about it? You've already taken the first step. Keep moving forward with this tour, and we can help you put a plan together and even show you how to get your food for free.